Hello people, so welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be running you through how to retrofit rear speakers into a car that didn't come with them. So this is my 2012 Ibiza Estate 6J, and as it stands I've retrofitted one side of the speakers but not both, so I can show you how to do it on this side. There's a few things that you might not expect, so it's definitely worth detailing how you're meant to do this. So as a quick rundown, there's no wires in the actual car from the head unit to this point, but there is wires in the door, and I'll show you that when I take the door card off. But leads in nicely, that is your first step. You've got to take the door card off, so I'll show you how to do that. So the first step is pull this trim off. It just pulls off that way. Just give it a pry. I normally pry sort of under here, then it will clip off that way. And then obviously you've got to take off your winder if you have one, so that just pops off like that. And then in here you've got a T30 there, and there's a little bolt down here, another T30 just there, and also one in there. So take those three out and then I'll show you the next. So now those three bolts are out, it's a bit of a strange door card. I've never personally seen one like this. Instead of having clips, so on the Polos and Golfs and whatnot, they'll have little clips dotted around the door, so maybe three there, two along the bottom and then two there, and then you pull it forward. Whereas on these you push the whole door card up because it has slotting clips that slot into the metal frame of the door. So I'll pull it off now and then I'll show you what I mean, but basically just pop that up, make sure all the bolts are nice and free and clear, there's no hang-ups or anything, and then give it a good push upwards, and then you can pull the door card away enough to get access to here. Oh, and I almost forgot, underneath this little trim piece here there's another secret bolt, so make sure you take that off as well. It just pops off two little clips. So yeah, as you can see, that's your door card away, nice and free, and these were the clips I was talking about. So as you can see, there's a little hook, and that hooks into the actual door, so you haven't got to worry about breaking clips, but they're a bit of a pain to pull up. You have to use quite a lot of force, so just be mindful of that. So for this purpose I'm going to leave it attached because it's going to be hard to show. You might just about be able to see here, but the window regulator stays attached to the door card, and so does the speaker, but you'll see what I mean by the weird door wiring. So here you can see the speaker wire that's in the door already is just plugged into a piece of plastic. So next step of your job is to take off this piece of plastic. I believe there's 6 T20 bolts, you can see them all dotted around, there's one there, and then unplug that plug, ready for your new speaker to go. So yeah, I've just got that piece of plastic removed. As you can see, it's just a blank piece of plastic that just sat in the door, I guess to keep dust out of the speaker hole, but that was where the plug was plugged into, so it's a piece of plastic with a plug on it basically. So then you replace that with your speakers. I'll put the part numbers for these in the description. These are just used OEM ones from a breaker on eBay, so just get them bolted up in their place. So behind there with the plug facing the top, I believe they only go in one way actually because they've got different cutouts on the side, but yeah, I'll get that fitted and then clip the door card back on. Yeah, so I have just removed the door panel fully, just so I could show you what I meant a little bit easier, because it was quite hard to see before. But the only reason I said not to was because this window regulator is absolutely awful to try and get back in. It's on this plastic riveted piece, or plastic welded I should say, and it's really easy to break off the main door card because it is a separate piece, and once you have, you know, you've got to re-weld it and stuff. It's a massive faff, so if you can get away with it without, then saves you a bit of faff if you do mess it up. But yeah, there's the plug plugged into the speaker, and you've just got all these little bolts around the edge to put back in. You can do it with the door card on. I did the other side with the door card still on, so it's definitely possible. It's just a bit more difficult, but then in the grand scheme it's probably easier without. So that's now your door panel back on, all buttoned up, speakers obviously behind there, and yeah, that's that part of the job done. All you got to do is get signal from your radio to there, and then the whole job's complete. So I'll show you how to do that. So for a proper job, I went through the wiring diagrams, and I found out from the 16 pin connector, obviously left and right is coded on here as well, T18G8, so pin 8 is the door harness connection that goes to there, or radio connection that goes to the door harness, and then that goes to there. So that's basically the wire from there to the door over there. So I'll take the radio out and show you exactly what I've done, and it's all using a bit of speaker wire like that you can get from Halfords for £3. So nice and simple, nice and cheap. And I got some lengths of wire, obviously to pin these in OEM style. I already had some leftover wiring looms that I could use, but I'll put links in the description for all brand new Volkswagen pins that you can use instead, because I know not everyone has access to used wiring looms. But yeah, basically I thought that would be the easiest and best way that you could get this to work. Then you'd have to use adapters or anything behind the head unit, and then you can plug all this in and it will work straight away. However, if you want to get the fader, which is, where's my key? So the right rear front fader, then you're going to need to code it in. So I'll show you how to do that as well on OBD11, but obviously VCDS will do it. Carly might even do it. So there's plenty of options, but I always use OBD11. So I've just pulled off this trim so I can show you what I've done on this side. So to take this door harness, to pull that through, you basically unhook this one, so it's just that clip you pull upwards, and then there's two little tabs on either end, bottom and top. So pop those tabs in. A bit hard to do with one hand. And then that plug will drop through, and it just looks like that. And then there's a little cover over there that you can pull off that way. A couple of little clips down the bottom, but then you can expose all the back end of that, so you can pin wires into it and add a couple of pins. As you can see, I've used a bit of OEM wire on the very end, the original twisted pair. So 23 and 20, so 23 just there and 20 just there, with a little connector on the end. I'll put it all in the description, as I said before. But as you can see, 23 is negative, 20 is positive. So that's your positive connection there, negative connection there, and that's all you got to do to run that to the door, all OEM style. Otherwise you'd have to drill a hole in this plug, and I just think that's a bit of a hack job, to be honest. So I'd always try and pin them in if you can, especially when pins are only a couple of quid. But yeah, that's all you got to do in terms of this, and I'll show you the radio. So as you can see, more of the same here. We've got my wires that I've pinned in, the ones that are just sort of on their own. So you've got the top two on that brown plug and the bottom two, and that obviously corresponds to the notes that I made earlier. So the top two are T16G5 and T16G1. So that's 1 and that's 5, so positive and negative. And the bottom two are T16G8 and T16G4, so negative and positive again, as you can see. So it's just a case of getting a couple of these pins, popping them in, then you've got a fully OEM quad lock compliant setup. And then obviously you just run these off to their respective sides. So as you can see, there's my little heat shrink crimp connectors that have run into the Halfords wire and then straight off to where the doors are. So yeah, there's it all. So yeah, there's the T16G, the ones that I was talking about just now, and that's the left, that one's the left, that one's the right. So yeah, fairly straightforward. So that's the radio now back in, and I'm just going to show you how to get the rear front fader. As you can see, all working nicely. Once again, you don't actually need this. If you just plug the speakers in, don't have OBD11, don't have Carly, don't have VAGCOM, then it will work. You'll get an error code in your car's fault history saying module incorrectly coded, but aside from that, it will work completely fine. You just won't have that feature. It doesn't pop up like naturally, unfortunately, but I'll just show you how to code that in now. It's really simple. So as you can see, I'm now on my radio section on OBD11, and I do have a fault just because I'm running a Bluetooth module. So in long coding, you can see that we've got plenty of options here. So speaker channels, you have to change that from 2 speaker channels to 4, and then just do slide to right, and it will code that in. And that is all you have to do. And then after that, you'll have the rear front fader, and everything will sound as it should. Anyway, everyone, thanks very much for watching. Really appreciate it. I hope this helped out, you know, at least a little bit. I know not everyone is going to do it all OEM style. Obviously, you can drill a hole straight through there and then just run the wire straight through into the door, or you can just get an adapter. You can get the quad lock to quad lock ones, so it's just like an extra length of wire, and then you branch off them, so you don't have to touch the factory loom or anything. But I just think that's quite nice and neat. Also probably more secure and a bit more reliable if it ever does get knocked or whatnot. So yeah, that's all done already, and yeah, works like a treat.